So we're now going to go to our next speaker, who is Angela Wild. She is from Wild Women Workshop, which is a fantastic creative venture, most famous for the T-shirt, this witch doesn't burn, that J.K. Rowling started wearing and promoting, but also for just fantastic artwork, and also has done amazing theoretical work as well. So Angela, thank you so much for coming on. Can you tell us what is Wild Women Workshop?
It's a shop for radical feminist activists, not the fun kind. There aren't that many around. And I just thought I'd create and, sell items that feminists might find nice, interesting, useful, or funny. So yeah, I work with images such as witches, because really they are the archetype of women resisting and just have been there all along and will carry on being here as our TERFs. I work on a little bit of like man-hating, let's say. I also include obviously anti-porn, anti-surrogacy work, and TERF, and I work also a lot of images on goddesses, because I think it's really important to, whether we are spiritual or not, that there is a female representation of, the divine. And because I think also art created with spirituality, that we go back to, images of us as powerful goddesses. Yes, and then some gender critical, as some say, or rather gender hostile items like this. And I really wanted Wild to reflect my politics. And I wanted the name to reflect my politics. So wild comes from the Mary Daly definition of wild, and it's basically not tamed or domesticated, not associated with men, uncontrollable, ungovernable. The Mary Daly definition is amazing. I just thought it was so inspiring. That's what I wanted to be. And also the word women with a Y. I'm asked very often, why is it spelled like that? The Y, the women with a Y, it's an alternative spelling of the word woman used by feminists. And it's really also a reference to the second wave, where women started to talk about language and man-made language, and by using the alternative and not having the word man in woman, it shows a sign of independence. So I really wanted that to be reflected, like the real radical feminism in it.
How long has the workshop been going?
I started in 2017. And I started because I couldn't find what I was looking for. Again, going back to the second wave, I remember, no, I don't remember, but because I wasn't there, but reading books, and references, it seemed to have been like a lot of culture and a lot of badges. And I was like, where are the feminist badges? And in 2017, there were not anything radical on the market. There were not anything that I could wear if I went to demo that represented my politics. So that's yeah, I started with badges, basically.
And what's the aim?
It's important that a movement, a political movement of resistance, has like several aspects to it, and providing a visual identity for the movement is really, really important. I always had in mind the suffragettes who were so very visibly branded and clear when you knew who they were just by looking at them. And I thought it was really important to have, merch where we can recognize each other in the crowd. We are identifiable to each other. When you're in the street and you see somebody with a T-shirt, and you just know that even if you don't know her, she's on your side. So I brought the suffragette theme colors in 2019. Nobody was doing that at the time. I also brought the idea of the witch as the new TERF back in the day. So these ideas, like the suffragette and the witch as a rebel TERF, as a feminist, are now entirely part of that movement, for example. And I thought that was really important. The second really important thing is that I thought, I'm going to use a word that a lot of liberals use, but empower. Because I've had a lot of women saying to me, I bought a badge, I don't wear it, or I wear it inside my jacket. That's at the beginning of the movement of the TERF, finding each other. And I've never done a demo, I've never spoken up or anything. And I've got this badge, and then I find myself in the supermarket heckling my MP. And, the idea that I have in my pocket, or I've got a T-shirt underneath that is an item of dissent that I know I carry a movement with me, gave me courage. I've got a lot of women who said that to me. And I thought, like, badges are a getaway kind of drug to more radical action. To me, they really carry a lot of power. And also because patriarchy bans little items like stickers, it seems ridiculous, but there's been so many press around stickers. If you think about it, it's a few centimeters of fabric or a few centimeters of paper where, you just express something that is different, that is dissident, and it's really powerful, really, in a patriarchy. So, yeah, like, cultural resistance, I think, is as important as bringing legal challenges. We have a rich movement. We have a movement with women like with loads of skills. They come from their life and bring these skills and this expertise, into the movement. And this is what I've got. I've got visual culture, so I'll bring that. So that's fairly new. I worked on a very, very long project that is a hand-drawn coloring book. It's Radical Feminist inspired, and it's a witch's book. And I hand drawn everything. So I want to say I don't use AI. I do everything by hand, and that was a long product of love, and I'm really proud of it. So I wanted to show that. I've got this one as well. So that I came here to speak about the action No Man Beyond This Point, which I run, around Hampstead Heath and several times in the UK. I also sell the tape because I thought it's a really useful product, like an activist tool that you can have in your bag. And because women have asked me, can we have the tape? So the tape is really cheap and you can buy meters of them and set up your women's space wherever you are. So, practical as well as, nice. Next one is, so that is, I'm also doing art print. So I'm doing a lot of merch, but I'm also doing some art, and these are handmade. And they are basically, they say, join your local tough gang. Again, that's a reference to the witches and the resistance of women. And they are hand painted and hand printed. So they're completely unique pieces. And you'll be able to see that in London in a couple of weeks at Women Create, because I'm showing them there. And this one, I have been really very worried about the rise of Trump and the very right-wing, the pro-natalist, racist movement. And I wanted to really, really strongly say that, you can be anti-gender ideology and you can also be anti-Trump. And yes, and there's loads of us around. So
where do you get your inspiration for your new designs?
There's two things, One thing is when I've left Twitter now for, ideological reason and for my mental health, but a lot of the time for many years, the inspiration came from the opposition. So, you would have, it would be really the act of reclaiming, when you get called something and then you reclaim it. So you make it lose its power. So I've used that on a visual way. And all the way since, 2018 and onwards, I've started using words that were used against us to create items. So there was a journalist that said that J.K. Rowling joined the wrong crowd. I made a T-shirt. Somebody said that lesbians were part of an international network of powerful lesbians. I made a T-shirt. And recently there was this actor who, oh God, the name escapes me. I don't pay attention to men very much, but he called us Gargoyle of Beelzebub, and I made a T-shirt. The idea was, to just do that very, very quickly because I can design quickly, and to just this, how do you say, like, remove the power out of the slur, because it really, if you remember at the beginning, being called a TERF was very scary, and I think for some women it still is scary, but it's lost I think it's lost its silencing power, at least in the UK, because we've used it to say, well, actually, yeah, I am a TERF, so what are you going to do about it? And that was one of the things I've been doing for a very long time. But the second thing is really from the beginning, I am women-centered. And I think feminism in general and even my art, because of that, reaction to opposition, has been too reactive. And I really think we should be creating more the things we want, the word we want, the artwork we want, rather than being against patriarchy. Let's be for women, let's create what we need. So I'm trying to now integrate more women-centered product and visual in general.
Can you tell us about when J.K. Rowling reposted about your t-shirt? What impact did that have on your shop and on your spirit?
It was 4 years ago, and I received a text by somebody because I was outside having a walk. I didn't look at my phone, and somebody said, "Oh my God, just look at Twitter." And so she had shared a picture of her with my t-shirt that says, "Sometimes the t-shirt just speaks to you," and then linked to the shop. So I had the most massive rush of orders I've ever experienced. And I have to say, Joe, I had a little mental breakdown because I cannot cope with this. I'm not Amazon, it was me. So how do I deal with this? And I freaked out because I couldn't print the orders fast enough, let alone preparing them. I was like, oh my God, I had no kind of structure in place to deal with such a thing. I remember going to the post office with trolleys twice a day, trolleys full to the top of orders, and I made a few not friends in the local post office because it was just completely crazy. I think in the first 2 days I received 1,000 orders, so it was really insane, and it really changed my life because yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Then he messaged. No, I wrote a letter to Jo to thank her because it did have such an impact on me, and then I was invited for lunch, so that was nice.
You do custom design. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, for years, in fact, what happened is that I've received requests for women saying, "Oh, would you do a logo for me? Would you do an illustration? Would you do some work?" And I have declined all the time. I was like, no, I didn't feel that this was for me. I've had an experience, as a graphic designer in an agency, which was terrible. And I just really didn't want to do it. And in fact, recently I had several very good experiences. And I thought, actually, yes, I'm going to say yes to that. This is really a great opportunity, because really what I want to do is to communicate more with women. And also, I want to step away from that rush of doing not orders, but design very, very quickly. When you work with a client, so, if somebody came to me today, we would develop a product together, we develop a project together, I'll get to understand what they are doing and how they want their image to be. And that's my job to transfer that into an image, and I'm really, really enjoying it. The last few projects I've had were just really, really wonderful. I can't show them to you all because they're not released yet, but yes.
Why did you decide to go in that direction?
I think I've kind of really tried to answer that. I think I'm looking for a bit of a slower, deeper way of working, a bit more intentional. I'm going to carry on the merch side because I really enjoy it too. It's really satisfying to have women wear your design. I love it, but I like the process of working with someone as well, and I think it's really enriching. So.
You mentioned the Women Create. Are you going to be there as well?
I might not physically make it, but I'm in 2 panels. I will be speaking on cancel culture, and I will be speaking on the challenges and joys of being an artist and a working class woman. But I'm also showing 2 things there. So I'll be showing the tough gang that you've seen, which are lino cuts. And also, I'm going to be showing the No Man Beyond This Point that will be on display as well. And I think it'll be really interesting if there are some audience who are not feminists to go and experience, what it's like to be excluded if you're a man from that space. So I'm looking forward to that.